Today's episode of the Ramp It Up podcast contains explicit language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener's discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Ramp It Up podcast with your host, Ronel Sinuis.
Are you ready to ramp it up?
Ramp it up, ew!
Hey, yo, ramp it up, D.
Girl, ramp it up! Ramp it up!
The Ramp It Up podcast.
Hey, you need to ramp it up.
Ramp it up.
And we are back with another episode of the Ramp It Up podcast. I'm your host and your favorite Zoe on Wheels, Ronel Sinus. October 27th, just a few days left till November. We're in turkey season. I'm not really a big Halloween person, don't really care for pumpkin spice either, but talk to me about turkeys, mac and cheese. I'm okay. I'm getting better on sweet potato, just not the sweet potato pie. But either way, Turkey Day is right around the corner. Hopefully you guys have some great plans in place with your family. I am open to accepting plates. Let me know what time I should come over for dinner or lunch, depending on what time you and your family sit down. My family sits down pretty late at night, but it's okay. It just gives us time to have Thanksgiving lunch with other friends. But that's still a few weeks ahead. We are still, even though it's the end of October, we're still in October. And today's episode is to recap my trip to beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, where I attended the United Spinal Association's SWTCon, better known as the Strong Wheeled Together Conference 2023. This year was the second iteration of the conference. And my unbiased opinion, it went real well. It went really, really well. We're going to give you, I guess I'll break my recap up into three parts. The first part of my review will be about traveling. What was the flight like, the accessible transportation situation like to and from and at Las Vegas. Secondly, we will cover the experience in Las Vegas itself. And then lastly, of course, the conference and what I learned there, who I saw, who I met, everything along those lines. At this point, if you've been following our social media, you've seen a couple videos, you've seen some pictures that I've posted. If you're not following, what are you doing? Go ahead and follow now. Our Facebook is the Ramp It Up Podcast. Just search for it. And on Instagram, it is ramp.it.up.podcast. You'll find them there. Also, if you guys want to connect with us, you can email the podcast at rampituppodcast@gmail.com. We love getting emails on what you guys have going on. We have gotten a few suggestions on people to interview and topics to talk about. So they will be coming around, especially for the new year. We have a lot planned, and we want you guys to be a part of the show itself by giving your input. If you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, go ahead and do so now. We're on all of your favorite podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we are on it. We want you to rate and review the podcast. We know we're a 5-star podcast, but I want to know what you guys think of us. Give us your honest rating and review the podcast. As I stated before, today's episode will be a recap of SWTCon. I was in Las Vegas from October the 18th until the 21st. The first portion of our recap, we're going to talk about traveling. We're going to talk about accessible traveling. It is something many wheelchair users like myself are very sensitive when this topic comes up. Many avoid long distance traveling as a whole. Others are willing to travel by car, bus, train, but refuse to get on a plane. If you guys remember, at the end of last year when I went to Houston, Texas, that was my first flight post spinal cord injury. So this was my second one. The first flight went okay. back in December. I learned a lot about my preparations. I learned a lot about the transferring. It wasn't perfect, but I was able to take the lessons I learned from then and apply them to this flight. Back in December, I flew with United Airlines. This time around, I was able to get a flight with American Airlines. So the review process, I'm actually start really early when it came to purchasing my tickets, because this is something I did not know the first time around, because Amazon purchased my tickets in December. So when searching for flights, you usually have the flight number. Sometimes they'll have the model number of the plane there. Now, I first called the special assistance line, American Airlines, let them know, hey, I'm going to be booking a flight. I have a power wheelchair. I wanted to make sure that it could be stowed on the plane. And they said, no problem. Purchase your ticket first, call the hotline, and then we will assist with getting all of your special accommodation set up and storing your wheelchair, everything along those lines. I was like, cool. I searched, I found 2 great flights, one for myself and one for my assistant that was going to be traveling with me. Shout out to Miss Nadia. She did great work while we were in Las Vegas, although she always does great work. I purchased the flight. Actually, no, let me rewind that. I didn't purchase it. I had it up on the computer, but something told me, let me call the customer service. I am old school. I like calling the 1-800 number, talk to the person. Don't give me all the automated robots and all that. I want to talk to a human, which turned out to be the best idea. While speaking to the customer service person on the phone, I found a great deal on flights. I purchased the flight, and she transferred me to the special assistance hotline. I'm now explaining to them, I'm giving them my flight number, everything that the customer service rep who transferred me helped me with. And while giving the information for my wheelchair, you have to give them the dimensions, if you have a power or manual wheelchair, what kind of battery you're using. I use a dry cell battery. All of those things are important. She let me know that the dimensions of my chair would not fit the cabin or the storage area of the plane, that it would be too big, and that I needed to switch to a different flight. I was a little perturbed because the other flights were way more expensive at the time, and I was like, you got to help me out, because during the purchasing process, there's no obvious way of knowing if your chair will fit. You just click the option saying, hey, you have a wheelchair, and they refer you to special assistance after you purchase your flight. After speaking with her for a few minutes, I charmed her up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Instead of getting angry and arguing with her, you know what they say, although it doesn't make sense. You need honey to attract bees, but bees are the ones that make honey, so how can you attract bees with honey? Anyway, I tried to be as kind with her, as nice, and she was extremely understanding on the phone, but she did explain to me the model of the plane. I could look up on Google and possibly find out the dimensions of the plane that way and find out if my chair would fit. She originally was like, we can't help you. You're going to have to refund your tickets, pay extra. And I was like, come on. Put the sweet charm on her, hit her with a little deep voice. She went again and was thankfully, with the help of her supervisor, was able to change my flight to a plane where the storage area was large enough to accommodate my chair. Why is that important, you guys? First of all, we don't want them trying to disassemble my chair to make it fit into the storage area. We also don't want them to tip my chair over on its side, because that could break the armrests of the chair and damage other portions of the chair as well. I want my chair to be able to just roll into place, sit upright. So the customer service agent was amazing. I didn't have to pay the difference in the flights, and she got them booked. So my bit of advice for you guys, if you're going to be booking a flight, find out if your chair will fit, whether you ask them prior or do the research as she suggested for me when you get the jet model number. I did receive an ID number for my particular chair next time I fly with American Airlines. So hopefully that will make the process a lot easier. Fast forward a little bit when I was getting my seats. If you're big guy like myself, or just a larger person, I'm 6'1", about 280. The little seats don't usually work well for me, especially if I'm being transferred in by someone else. If I was sitting with my own power, being able to stand and sit, I'd be fine. But when being transferred in, you need a lot more leg room and space to get into position, and also it allows my aide to help me a bit better. So we had to request the bulkhead seats. They're essentially the seats like right behind first class. They have a little bit more leg room, but you have to give up the armrest going up and down. The armrest going up is important when they're transferring you in. They don't necessarily have to lift you all the way over the armrest. I chose the leg room, so that was the case. Again, thankfully, the policies allow them to give not only myself but my companion 2 seats without upcharging us. Fast forwarding again, we're now at the airport heading to Las Vegas early Wednesday morning on the 18th. And American Airlines did amazing. From the moment we arrived to the airport and we're heading towards the American Airlines terminal, one of the agents directed me towards the special assistance line. They knew me by name, I guess because they already saw they had a passenger who was going to be a wheelchair user. So they addressed me. They let me know, hey, they can help me out. This time around, not like back in December, I found out you're allowed to travel with 1 piece of luggage to check under the plane for free if it only has your medical equipment in there. I paid for it last time. So United, y'all owe me $70. But American Airlines were able to get that clarified, so I was able to travel with things like the battery charger for my chair. I use a cushioned wedge to assist with sleeping, so I'm not sleeping very flat. It elevates my head, and all of my other devices and medications and stuff for wound care, all that good stuff. They all went into that bag without any issues, checked in for free. Again, when I got to the gate, they were ready for me. They came, asked me a couple questions, make sure I was comfortable, and explained to me the whole boarding process, and they helped me out. So, A+ for the customer service from all of the individuals who approached me. Here is where not only I have a problem, but many other wheelchair users and individuals with mobility disabilities have an issue. I need assistance being transferred from my power chair into the aisle chair. For those of you who may not know, as a wheelchair user, you're not allowed to sit in your own chair on the plane. You have to, I don't want to say surrender, because it sounds so negative, but that's what it feels like. Your chair to either be stored on the plane in the cabin, if it's a manual chair that can fold up and close and fit into their closet, or otherwise put it underneath the plane. And then you have to sit in one of the plane chairs. To do so, you have to transfer from your personal wheelchair onto what they call their aisle chair. For those of you who remember kindergarten, you remember those really small chairs we all used to sit on? It's about that size. And they strap you in, and they push you down the aisle to get to your seat, and they help you transfer into your seat. That is a very sugar-coated version of what happened. What really happens is 2 to 4 individuals literally just lift you out of your chair and put you in the other chair. Now you're thinking, hey, they're helping you out. What's the problem with lifting? Again, body mechanics, technique, all of those things are extremely important, especially with like me. I have less range of motion because of my injury. I also can't assist them, so I'm essentially dead weight when they lifted me. So the wrong move, they can get hurt, I can get hurt, we can all fall, they could break or distort a limb. So much can go wrong. There are many different ways folks are transferred. Some use a sliding board to move from one plane to the other if they can transfer themselves, or if they're with a caregiver who knows how to do that seat transfer. Myself, I chose to use the sling for my Hoyer net. There are those who purchase a particular sling that assists them to transfer from seat to seat when going on a plane. I didn't know about that until after my flight. A friend of mine texted me about it, and I was like, well, super late. So I used my sling. They literally grabbed the four corners of my Hoyer net and lifted me straight up. Again, I'm a big dude, and I feel bad for them working because it's not like they just have a team of swole individuals on standby to just pick people up all the time. It's essentially, hey, you four, come on, let's pick up this guy and get him in a small chair. They did their best, of course. A+ to them for trying as hard as they did. They got me in. The chair is very small. My legs don't fit. The straps are very small and tight. They had to get extenders. Damn near choked me. And the only reason I'm going into so much detail about this is because it's such an area of contention for many advocates for wheelchair users to get policies changed so airplanes can be updated so we can travel in the safety of our own chairs. That way we don't have to transfer. We don't have to put that pressure on the staff, on ourselves physically, and on our chairs. That way we can just sit. They're safe. No worries. Again, they were able to get me on safely, so nothing negative against the staff. I just think for multi-million-dollar companies, they could do much better for paying customers. Arriving to Las Vegas, essentially the same thing. The only problem I really, really hate is you're the first one on the plane and then the last one. So it's essentially add almost 2 more hours to your flight time because you're the very first one on, and then they have to finish boarding. And then when everyone disembarks the plane, you're the very last one. And if you're unlucky like I was on my return home, you're waiting for your chair to come a lot longer. So it just comes with the territory, I guess. When we arrived to Vegas, I made sure I did my homework prior. I researched so many transportation outlets trying to find accessible wheelchair transportation for myself and my aide. And I was insured, yes, the shuttles are at the airport every 15 minutes. All you have to do is call when you get to the airport and let them know you need a wheelchair accessible ride, and they should be there within 20 to 30 minutes. I call BS. BS. We got there, and the lady literally told me, oh, there's none. I was like, what do you mean there's none? Like, none in the next 30 minutes, an hour? She's like, nope, we called dispatch. There are no wheelchair accessible shuttles out. I was a little perturbed. I wasn't there to cause a scene, so I moved on. I had to go across the terminal to find wheelchair accessible taxis. Another pain. Most that I've come across in Texas, in Orlando, in Miami, and now in Vegas are all rear entry minivans. Why does that matter? Again, I'm 6'1". I'm using a power chair, so they're usually a lot higher up than the manual chairs. The clearance to get into the minivan is already tight from the side. Coming in through the trunk, especially because it's curved, it is much tighter. So you have to like bend and twist and turn. And again, if you don't have as much trunk control and arm control, it's very difficult to get up that ramp. Also, it's not like you're going into the van and you have space to turn and accommodate yourself. Nope. It's a small little area. Essentially, the driver had to like kick my back tires to turn them so I can fit. He slammed the door so it could actually close behind me, literally hitting the back of me in my chair. I couldn't lean back or weight shift or anything. There was no space for any of those things in the rear entry van. And it was so bad on our way back, I was stuck in the back of the van for a little while because it was such a tight fit. So as far as wheelchair accessible transportation in Vegas, y'all are getting a C-. Only reason it's not a D is because when I called, it didn't take them too long to get to me. Probably like 20 minutes or so. There were enough of them on the streets. But they're not that accessible. It was a very uncomfortable ride. I was tipping forward the entire time. And they didn't even have any safety belts in the back seat for me. They just strapped my chair down and we just hoped for the best. Thankfully, we weren't too far from the airport to the hotel, so it wasn't too bad. that is it for the transportation aspect of the trip to Vegas. Coming back home, the flight was very similar. The only difference was there was a change in gate at the last minute, so my chair took a lot longer to get to me. So it was very uncomfortable sitting long term in the small seat. But again, the staff are what made it a more pleasant experience. They did their best to make sure I was comfortable. They didn't leave my side until my 8 and 9 said, yes, I was secure in my seat, I was positioned well, and that's when they finally left. So I give the staff themselves an A. Procedures, a D, because there needs to be a lot more work there. Transportation, again, in Vegas, C-. That is it for part 1 of my recap. We're going to go a little bit faster. Part 2, the Vegas experience.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hi, I'm Alex, the host of X Health Show. Meet the future of healthcare. Think X-Men, that's X Health. Actual superheroes behind programming living cells to cure cancer once and for all. Tech that detects preterm delivery in seconds, brain-computer interface, or apps that employ AI to match you, your disease, with the best treatment. X Health Show brings to you visionaries who push the boundaries of healthcare from Switzerland, the heart of Europe and the most innovative country in the world. Let me introduce you to their startups. Head to X Health Show, meet the future of healthcare. Happy to greet you there.
I will say this, I guess going to Vegas for the first time in my later 30s is not what I expected. After watching hundreds of movies about Vegas, especially the Hangover series and some of the other ones that was just all about partying and going wild in Vegas, yeah, when you're in your later 30s, not partying as much is not as appealing, especially when I don't gamble. Y'all, I hate losing in general, and the only thing worse than losing is losing and then losing money. Two horrible things. They're not for me. Yes, I've played cards with my friends here and there, but we go in with a pot. We don't bet anything extra. So I'm like, all right, I lost $10. I'm cool. I'm not losing $10, $15, $20 per hand. That's not Ronell. I'm not good at it. I'm a sore loser. Also, I thought I was the man because I play cards on my phone. No, no, no. If your experience with poker, blackjack, and any of the other casino games are relegated to your cell phone, you're not ready for Vegas. Don't do what I did. I sat very confidently at a Texas Hold'em table, and it was the Lord. It was the Lord. The luck and the Lord kept me from losing all the money I put. So I escaped after one hand. I was like, nope, not going to do it to myself. Blackjack. Blackjack should be easier. All you got to do is get 21. I lost all my money in 3 hands. I was very upset. My aide, she likes to play slot machines, so we played some slots. Lost. So as a sore loser, I was like, I'm not about this life. I quit. I'm not gambling no more. So it was quite hilarious. But I will say this. The sights are beautiful. The hotels are very nice. At night, the lights are gorgeous. We stayed at the Paris Las Vegas Hotel. So we were able to go up on their Eiffel Tower replica and just to see the whole city from at night. None of my pictures are going to do it justice. It really is gorgeous. During our free time, we were able to explore the city a little bit. I'm not going to put myself out there, but for reasons beyond my control, my chair didn't have enough power to go as far as I wanted to, so I didn't get to make it to the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. But it was really nice. I will say this, the sidewalks aren't that great for wheelchair accessibility because many of them aren't flat planes. They're very slanted, they're on tilts. So if you're not careful, you will tip over. And it is packed. It is the strip is a lot smaller than you expect, especially if you're coming from places like Miami or New York and you're used to much larger, South Beach. It's a lot more space and there's a lot more activity down there. Well, all of that is squished into a smaller area. So I thought there would be a lot more space. So it was very congested, but I did enjoy it. we did have fun. There were street performers everywhere, and there the showgirls and other people in costumes to take pictures of. So I enjoyed that aspect. The next time I go, next year, God willing, if the conference, or if I'm able to make it to the conference next year, I'm going to focus a bit more on the cultural aspect of it. Probably catch a show, which I didn't get to do this time, go to a museum, and of course, I want to see the mountains and the Grand Canyon. There are tours that will take you out there. It's a couple hours, but I really want to make it, even if I have to stay for an extra day or two, because it was beautiful. I did get to see the mountains over during the flight, and they're very different from northern mountains or in the islands. So it was a gorgeous, gorgeous view. I enjoyed that aspect of Vegas, but gambling is not for me. It really isn't. I really think it's, if you're going for like a bridal shower, as they tend to show, or if you're really good at gambling, then it'll work out for you. Cuisine, great, but expensive. Goodness. But I did enjoy myself. I was prepared to spend the money, and I didn't want to deter it from I didn't want to let the cost of food and stuff deter me from having a great time. And again, we really did enjoy the sights and the sounds. Lastly, but most importantly, is the actual SWTCon 2023. The conference in itself was from Thursday the 18th until Saturday 21st. Thursday night was the opening ceremony, a mixer and networking opportunity. Friday was a day full of breakout sessions, networking as well, and there were exhibits there. We were shown new technology, and we'll actually have the opportunity to test out some new devices in the next couple days. So if I don't have to sign an NDA, I'll share with you guys. But if I have to sign it, you will have to wait until they're in the open market. And at the end of Friday night was the Strong Wheel Together Awards. There are individuals who have shown outstanding achievement in different areas who are all wheelchair users, and the United Spinal Association wanted to acknowledge them with the awards, and many were able to attend, one of them including my peer mentor, Ryan Gabauer. You guys have heard me talk about him many times. His award was in entrepreneurship, but unfortunately he was unable to attend. But there were others who had outstanding achievement in writing. Another one was in music. He was a rapper. Another gentleman won an award for sports and physical activities. He was on the Golden State Warriors, but I don't know. It's their wheelchair team. I don't remember if I messed up the name, but they were actually the most recent champions in the wheelchair league. So it was really great being able to assist the United Spinal with acknowledging these individuals and their accomplishments. I was just honored to be there and to be in their presence, because it takes a lot to put in the work and you're not always acknowledged. So it's just great to have your community acknowledging what you've done. And of course, it was a great night, great dinner. I had the chance to meet coworkers through Fable, other individuals I've been interacting with only on Zoom for the last 3 years. So I really enjoyed it. The highlight, I would say, is I got to meet Cole and Charisma. They are a couple who I've been following on YouTube since the beginning of my injury. Cole is living with a spinal cord injury, and he married Charisma, who he met during therapy. And they're just a great couple who share their journey on YouTube and through social media. And, you know, they encourage a lot of other people who are living with spinal cord injuries, who are spouses and partners of those who are wheelchair users or have disabilities. And they're just very encouraging. So I got to meet them. They were there. Charisma was recently voted as a member of the board of directors for the United Spinal Association. So I had the chance to chat with them. I took some pictures. I got a couple of videos that I will be sharing with you guys. In fact, the one I did want to share is a quick video, or if you're only listening to the podcast, a quick audio from a few minutes. I was able to speak with Vincenzo Piscopo, the president and CEO of the United Spinal. Ronell again with the Ramp It Up podcast and the United Spinal Association. I am here with a good friend of mine, the CEO, the big boss, the man in charge of United Spinal, Vincenzo Piscopo, aka or better known as Enzo. This is our second time getting to meet in person from back in Houston when we were participating in the NASA program, which was, I can't even say a once in a lifetime experience. It was something I would have never thought possible. So we had a great time in Houston, but here we are now in beautiful Las Vegas at the Paris Las Vegas Hotel for the Strong Will Together conference. Right. In a few words, tell us what the conference is here about. What are we here for?
So here is an opportunity for all stakeholders to come together and work together to make this world more inclusive for people with disability, specifically for wheelchair users. This is the place where ideas are incubated, where great innovations are launched. Thanks, because we bring together the talent of universities, the talent of the tech industry, and our lived experience to come up with solutions that will not only impact the community of people with disability, but the society at large.
What I really love about the conference is there's people from all over the United States. Myself, I'm from Florida. And what would you say is the importance of having such a diverse group of individuals coming together for the association?
Yeah, for us, first of all, we are an organization that serves everybody, right? So for us, it's so important when we are coming up for ways to really make this world more inclusive, that we really hear all experiences. We hear the lived experiences of everybody. The more that we can get insights from the different stakeholders from all over the country, the better off we will be at addressing the challenges that our community faces.
All right, and our last question, I know we're at almost the end of the year, and what do we have to look forward to next year, 2024, and moving forward with the United Spinal Association?
So there's a lot of great things coming up next year. Obviously, we will have again the Strong Will Together conference that is going to take place in Vegas, this time in the Caesar Palace. And so we're very excited. We're going to build on what we're learning from this conference, and we're going to make it bigger and better. So I'm very looking forward for that. The other thing that we are doing, we are expanding our Tech Access group to really include entrepreneurs and also include the academics, students and universities, because like that, we can actually address all the opportunities that they are out there to make our world more inclusive. So we're expanding our chapter network. So we're looking into getting more chapters in areas, in rural communities, so that more people can have access to the resources that our organization offers.
That is great to hear, especially as one of the facilitators for Tech Talks and the Tech Access group. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, Enzo, this is just part one. We're going to have a full-length episode in the very near future, but thanks so much for making this happen. This is my first year at the SWTCon, and I look forward to being here again next year.
Well, you need to be here next year. You better be here next year.
All right, thanks a lot, Enzo.
Thank you, Ronell.
All right. So as Enzo mentioned, the next SWTCon will be in Vegas again, and I can't wait to be out there. I'm looking forward to meet more individuals, and most importantly, just the work that the United Spinal and all of the members and other people who are part of the community are going to continue to do for not only those of us who have spinal cord injuries, but all wheelchair users and people with disabilities in general. Again, shout out to Pat, Shane, and Caitlin, who I met through, or who I work with rather, at Fable, and I had the opportunity to hang out with them while we were in Vegas. If I try to list all the other names, I will get in trouble because there will be people I will miss. But it was great to see Hillary Muehlberger. I've worked with her in our tech talks that we have bi-weekly in the United Spinal. I'm supposed to be having her as a podcast guest, so keep your ears open for that as well, along with Cole and Charisma and a few of the other individuals I had the opportunity to meet in Las Vegas. Again, overall, it was an A1A experience. Yes, there were areas that need lots of improvement, especially when it comes to traveling with a wheelchair. I posted on our social media, so you can check that out. Again, it's ramp.it.up.podcast on Instagram, where you'll catch some videos and some pictures. I have a few more to put up before the end of the month. And you can also find it on our Facebook page, the Ramp It Up Podcast. Until next time, our next episode will be in November. So everyone, take care and have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in to the show. Connect with the podcast on social media. Check out our Instagram page at ramp.it.up.podcast or email us at rampituppodcast@gmail.com. Until next time.